Welcome to another Iowa High School Athletic Association training tape. My name is Monte Tilgner, and I'll be taking you through 9 plays on this tape that will focus on penalty enforcement, some of the new rules for NFHS this year, as well as reviewing some of the current rules we have. So let's take a look at our first play. We've got a situation is a 3rd and 5 at the A27, and this is not big enough for a hold, but just want to go through if it was a hold by A65 at the A22, where we would enforce this hold from and what would be our next down and distance and clock status. So again, we're a 3rd and 5 at the A27. We have a hold by the offense that is behind the previous spot. And we have a run that ends up outside of position 5. So as I have my notes here, the foul is by hold by the offense behind the line of scrimmage with the spot of the run beyond the line of scrimmage. So this would be enforced from the previous spot. This is a new rule in NFHS for 2023. That means it would be enforced 10 yards from the A27 position 5 to the A17 position 5 with a repeat of 3rd down. The clock would be on the ready for play since we had a run that ended in bounds. And just a reminder so we understand ball position for the next snap. Position 1 is on the hash press box side. Position 2 is upright press box side. Position 3 would be in the middle. Position 4 would be opposite, the upright on the opposite field side of the press box. Position 5 is the hash opposite of the press box. And again, the advantage of using these numbers is it never changes, unlike right hash and left left middle and so on when you flip the sides of the field. So it's good to get used to using the number system when you're talking about where you're going to enforce things from or where you want to touch back from. All right, let's take a look at the next play. We've got a punt play here. And this is the player we're going to see. We're going to have a takedown hold, which should be seen by the line judge. The line judge and the headline judge are responsible for watching the gunners on their side of the field, as the back judge will have the receiver and be watching for a fair catch signal and will not see any blocks. The back judge should not see any blocks until after that catch has been made. So what will our enforcement be if this foul occurs during the kick, which it does? That's what you need to be thinking about. If we have a hold or a block in the back that occurs during the kick, where are we going to enforce that from? So let's take a look here. We'll see takedown hold right there. And notes here just talking about this enforcement. So if we have a foul that occurs during the kick by Team B, and it occurs after the snap, and it's fouled by Team B. I should say Team R for high school. So Team R and Team R will next snap the ball. We have a PSK foul, post-scrimmage kick. So since this is a post-scrimmage kick foul, our PSK spot is the end of the kick. In this case, it's where the ball went out of bounds. So the ball went out of bounds on the press box side, which is position 1. So we're going to enforce it from position 1, 10 yards from the 25, which is where it went out of bounds, back to the 15. And it will be B's ball, 1st and 10, B15. Clock status, 100% of the time will be on the snap. Anytime we have a legal scrimmage kick or legal free kick, it doesn't matter what happens, you will never have it on the ready for play after a free or scrimmage kick. Let's go back and take a look mechanically at who should be looking where on this play. All right, so if we slow this down a little bit, again, we talked about that we have our line of scrimmage officials are going to be watching for the blocks on their gunners. So we've got this official who's going to be responsible for these 2 guys. And obviously we've got, contact going on there. So that's one we want to be focused on. Our headline judge is going to be focused on these guys. And once the second wave comes by, our umpire is going to turn and pivot, and then he will be responsible for these guys more in the middle of the field. So this is one that should be seen by, get rid of these now, seen by our line judge at the bottom of the screen. That is an obvious takedown. There's nothing else for that line judge to be looking at. There's not a lot of action here. He should focus on that. He should see that. And now we have our players getting to our umpire, so he'll pivot after that. And again, knowing that that block or that foul occurred during the kick, we do not need to have our flag at the right spot. So we don't have to move our flag to get it where the takedown occurred. We just want to throw our flag in the general vicinity of where the foul occurred. All right. And we said PSK foul. So you're going to report to the referee. Let's just say it was number 35. All right. So you'd say during the kick, holding, return team number 35. And then you would say that's going to be a PSK foul. You'd say that to your referee as well. He should know that. As soon as he hears during the kick, he should be thinking that. And then we need to get that out of bounds spot because that's where we're going to enforce it from. Referee, our announcement is going to be during the kick, holding, return team number 35. That penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the dead ball spot, first down. All right, next play here. We've got a free kick, and this is a very challenging play. So here's what happens. So we're gonna have during the return. So last time we had during the kick. This time we have during the return. And what that tells us right then, when we hear during the return, we know we're talking a running play. We do not have a kick play anymore. All right. So we have a regular running play, just like a handoff, off tackle, or whatever the case may be. So during the return, we have holding on the return team at the R25. The ball was fumbled at the 20, at the R20, and recovered at the R17. So fumbled and went backwards 3 yards and was returned by Team R. So again, be thinking about where this penalty will be enforced. Let's take a look at the play. So we're looking, where we should be looking right now is our referee's looking exactly where he should be. Really, we should have probably a couple sets of eyes on this particular block because, we would be looking up in this area with our headline judge. And again, we do not need to be watching either one of these guys with the ball. They can't foul or be fouled. So we're going to be looking up in this area. Our line judge at the bottom of the screen, same thing. You'd be focused in on this area, maybe looking at this block here that's going to potentially occur. But great pickup by our referee. So I'll go in slow motion here. Looking ahead of the runner, middle of the field where he should be. His flag nails the spot. But, it's important when we throw a flag to know the status of the ball and be thinking about our enforcement spot to know if we need to move our flag. So when he sees this takedown right there, takedown hold at the 24-yard line, our referee throws our flag. So we have a fumble now. And our ball goes back a few yards and gets picked up by our return man. Good beanbag by our line judge. So we go back just a little bit. Let's take a look at our flag. Ends up right at the 25-yard line. But if we understand penalty enforcement well, we know that the return man did not get to that spot. So since we have a running play and we have our foul by the team in possession in front of the end of the run, in front of that basic spot, which is the end of the run, penalty being forced from the basic spot, which is the spot of the fumble, since that occurred since the foul occurred during that run, so we don't need to worry about moving our flag. Okay, that fumble spot's going to be really important that we have marked because that's going to be the spot of our enforcement. So in this case, our ball was fumbled outside of position 1, right at the 20-yard line. So we are going to enforce this from the 20-yard line, position 1. And we're going to go from the 20 back to the 10. We're going to have first down Team R at the 10-yard line, position 1. And again, we had a free kick play. anytime we have a free kick play or a legal scrimmage kick play, the snap, the clock will always be on the snap. All right, next play here. We are going to have a. Okay, so this talks about the new rule and blocking below the waist. Just remembering this is from last year that they need to be by linemen, offensive linemen or defensive linemen on the initial charge. Okay, those are the only people that can block low. So in this situation, we're going to have a couple guys who are going to have a good block, a legal block, not a foul. They go low immediately, as I talk about right here. So these two are going to do that. This player is going to be illegal because he's going to rise up, and then he's going to slightly retreat, and then he's going to block low. Okay, and this almost exact scenario is 932 situation B in the NFHA's casebook. So let's take a look. We'll look at it in regular speed, and then we'll come back. All right, so that all happens pretty fast. So now let's go in slow motion. And just let's watch these two players first. They're going to immediately go low. Again, that's going to be our two guards, our left and our right guard. Immediately go low and roll into their guy. That's legal. That is okay. It's in their immediate action. And let's now take a look at our left tackle. And this is the one who fouls. He goes up, takes a step back, and then he goes low. That would make that a foul. All right. So we have a pass play. And again, this is going to be behind the previous spot. So we're going to force that 15 yards from the previous spot per our new rule of 10-4-2. Let's go back and take a look then and see what we'd have for a down and distance. Let's make it easy and say it's 1st and 10. We are at position, I would say position 4. So previous spot means previous spot for the yard line, but also for ball position. So since we're snapping this from position 4, we're going to go to position 4 from the 30, back 15 yards. So we beat the 45. And if it was 1st and 10, we're going to repeat the down. We're going to have 1st and 25 at the 45-yard line. And we had an incomplete pass. So we know that we're going to, oh, no, my bad. We had a completed pass. And if let's see our mechanics here. Good job of winding this clock. We definitely have progress stopped inbounds. Okay, so let's go back and talk a little bit of mechanics here by our short wing, by our headline judge. Again, immediately when you see this pass, so this reviewing mechanics from another training tape, and we've got a quarterback in shotgun. So we talked about the line judge is going to have this forward backward, and we definitely have a forward pass here. Remember, as soon as you see that ball thrown your way on a quick pass out, or you have a pitch play coming right at you, a swing, a stretch play or something like that, a run coming right at you, get back in that offensive backfield. So if our headline judge right now was at about the 33, 34-yard line, then he's, already, if he already was back there, he would have a better look at this action. But he does do a nice job of winding the clock. So we're going to be, again, going back to the previous spot, position 4, and we're going to be on the ready for play this time. Back judge, you are primary for helping your referee with clock status, but really we should have everyone having that motion of winding the clock to our referee. So as soon as that referee gets out of that announcement, he can look, and we've got back judge primary, but really all officials, winding that clock and letting him know he's going to wind that clock. Another thing you can do, back judge, is when you have a penalty, as soon as he gets done with his announcement, you get on your 020 and just going to say, hey, clock's on the ready, or clock's on the snap. But that's something that will take some pressure off your referee, because he wants to get that clock going or blow that in right after that. Okay, our next play here. So again, talking about Rule 217, block below the waist, and we got to know when and who and where. So first of all players involved in the blocking are on the line of scrimmage, and in the free blocking zone at the snap, there's no way a linebacker who's not on the line of scrimmage fits that. The contact is in the zone. Again, if this first part doesn't matter or doesn't apply, then it's going to be a foul no matter what, even if the contact is in the zone. Okay. The block is immediate initial action following the snap. Those are the three things that all have to be in play for it not to be a foul. And the most important thing to remember, as I say down here, is the block below the waist will never be legal if it's not an initial immediate action following the snap. Okay, so let's take a look at this guy right here. And this is what happens. You get these players who they'll take out the legs of a lead blocker, and that is a foul. All right, so let's go back and talk about this. We've got, we don't have to think a whole lot about penalty enforcement. Anytime we have a foul by the defense, it's always enforced from the basic spot, and the basic spot on a running play is the end of the run. So basically, we're going to tack 15 yards on to the end of the run. We know that block below the waist in high school football is not an automatic first down. Often that 15 yards will get you a first down, but it's not an automatic first down. So we are going to end up outside of position 1. Our dead ball spot looks like is the probably 30, let's just say 37 to make it easy. And we're going to go 15 yards from there, we're going to snap the ball from position 1. And since we had a running play that ended inbounds, we're going to have the clock on the ready for play. Next play here, we've got an offensive holding that occurs behind the line of scrimmage. So this should be a pretty easy one now with the focus on the new rule. So let's take a look. We're looking for a restriction, and we see a definite grab and restrict there. So as I have my notes here, grab and restrict, takedown behind the line of scrimmage. New rule means you will enforce this 10 yards from the previous spot and not the spot of the foul as it was in the past. Let's take a look at who should get this foul. Okay, so we got to remember that mechanically our line of scrimmage officials have to have their heads downfield looking at receivers as soon as they read pass. If there's not an immediate takedown by their tackle, and that would also mean that we didn't have anyone pressed here. So we don't have anyone pressed. So this headline judge could get a peek at his tackle and see if there's an immediate takedown. Right now, since there's not engagement already, you're already going to have to be starting to focus up here. So we need to know this as our referee and our umpire that at this point, this line of scrimmage is all yours. Okay, so referee, we know that your initial key is looking through and getting the left tackle, but we need to know, referee, you've got both these tackles, and knowing that our umpire is right here. Okay, so take those arrows away now. And so referee, you need to decide which is the bigger threat of the two. Okay, and at this point right now, we've got a better potential of this guy breaking through and getting to our quarterback. And right now you can see definitely does. So hopefully you see that restriction right there. You're the only one that's going to see it. Okay, the umpire is going to be looking at this block here, and our line of scrimmage officials are going to be downfield. So this one we would need our referee to pick up. We do not get a call, so I'm thinking maybe our referee was looking at that other tackle. But again, going back, referee, knowing that you've got both tackles and which one you feel has a better potential to foul with that quarterback where he is right now, this is the higher potential for a foul. So you need to be focusing on that one, and then hopefully you would see that. And again, with our new rule, since we don't have to penalize it from the spot of the foul, all you need to do is toss your flag into this area right here. But we do not need to, we don't want to throw it in, hit players. We don't need to get it all the way to that spot. Just toss it in the general vicinity of where that hold occurred, and knowing that we're going to enforce it from the previous spot. So again, previous spot, our snap was position 1. Okay, so our end of our play we end up with an completed pass outside position 5. So obviously the offense is going to take this. This is one of those we don't even need to ask. All right. We know that the defense is going to take it. We know the defense is going to take this foul, so we're going to back them up 10 yards from position 1, and we had a run that ended up out of bounds, so we're going to be on the snap for our next one. Okay, next play, we've got, this is a kick play, and we're going to have, let's take a look at who should be watching who again. And we've got our headline judge, which is going to be watching this action. This is where the hold's going to occur. We have our line judge that would have this gunner here. And right now, umpire, we've got these guys who are getting past you. So right now, we need our umpire to turn around, and he needs to be watching this action here. So this is chase mode. You could have a block in the back or maybe a hold there. So umpire, as soon as these guys get past you, you need to turn around and be watching the second wave in the middle of the field. Get rid of those 2 arrows. And let's continue. There's our takedown right there. And now we have our catch. So going back and talking about the mechanics of our back judge, he does a pretty good job. It looks like he's starting out rather, pretty much in the middle of these 2 guys. So after you get the depth and direction, just remember you're in good position depth-wise, but we would like you just a little bit wider. So probably, standing right out here. Let me get to the catch. Okay, so when he catches this, you're about 4 yards behind. So we'd like you a little bit deeper, a little bit wider. So with your feet more out here where you're looking in. So again, 5 to 7 wide, 5 to 7 deep is where we would like you to be on that catch. So again, we've got a takedown hold during the kick. So it's going to PSK foul enforced from the end of the kick. If we have fair catches and you don't put a beanbag down because it's a fair catch, you need to make sure you go to that spot, because if we do have a hold by our headline judge, he's going to go and report that to your referee. And over the 020, when you hear him say during the kick, holding return team number 27, you know that the end of the kick is what you need to have, because that's going to be where we're going to enforce that from. So we have 10 yards back, and we're going to have first down for Team R. Okay, on this play, we've got first and 10 at the 846. This is a block at the 50, and this is not enough for a hold. But if it were, where would we enforce it from? Okay, so let's take a look here. First of all, we got again, where we would be looking, referee, we know we're looking front side, and back judge, we are looking, front side, but from inside out. Okay, so there's 2 guys here that you could be looking at. You could be looking here, you could be looking here. And what my note says is initially you're probably going to be on this guy. All right, but then knowing that our headline judge is going to be on that block, as soon as these 2 are close enough to foul or be fouled, is when you would need to switch and pick up that block. Okay, so right about now, we would need our back judge to be on this block, because he knows that our headline judge has that block. All right, our referee is still probably taking a look at that block for, potential hold or something like that. And again, with the space between those, that would pretty much have to be a takedown hold unless this runner would cut back before we want it called. That's where we'll be looking at right now. If we continue, we can see that says this is definitely a borderline hold. And remember, what we talked about in the clinic is increasing your threshold of fouls. We do not want so many fouls called. You need to have, if you think it's a foul, unless it's a safety foul, if you think it's a foul, it's not a foul. All right, so if you think it's a hold, it's not big enough for a hold. We need to see material restriction at the point of attack, or a takedown for you to call a hold. So he lets them go right at the right time, so not enough to put a flag down. Again, if we did have a hold here at the 50, where would we enforce it from? So let's say we had a hold at the 50 outside of position 5, and this run ends up out of bounds. So it's a running play. So we know the end of the run is the basic spot. The end of the run is beyond the line of scrimmage. The foul is by team A, beyond the line of scrimmage, but behind the basic spot. So we're going to force that from the spot of the foul. And this is not part of our new rule. This would have been the same last year. This is your standard 3-and-1 enforcement. With the player going out of bounds, we know that we are going to be on the snap. And if that was a foul, we would be enforcing it from the spot of the foul, which is outside of position 5. We're going to come into position 5, go back 10 yards from there, and we would be on the snap. Our last play here is from a college game, just to give a good illustration of a few things. So first of all, again, who we should be looking at. You can see our umpire has already spun, and we would have our headline judge watching this gunner, our line judge watching this gunner. Our umpire is going to be watching these guys right here. And our foul is going to be, well, first of all, taking a look at the 3 different people we're looking at. Again, this is going to be our umpire, and this is potential chase mode. He's not totally behind him yet, a little bit, maybe half step. This is definitely chase mode. So this is a red flag for blocking the back. And again, this is going to be from our headline judge who's coming down the field, looking all the way there. We know that this ball hasn't been caught yet. So our back judge is focused on one thing, and that is only that return man. And then we would have our line judge again looking here. All right, so now if I get rid of those and we go in slow motion, take a look. There's our block in the back coming right there, right at the point of attack. Now, who can see this? We talked about the fact that our headline judge is going to be looking at this, and he is going to be, and he's going to stay with it. But after our catch has been made, now our back judge can transition to blocks, okay? Back judge is in a really good position here. Could be a step or two wider, but that's really good position. A little bit of depth is good. Since we have a catch, our back judge can now pick up blocks, and this would be a pretty quick transition for our back judge to get this block in the back. But let's go back and see what my notes here are. Again, this is during the run. So we have during a run, we have block in the back at the 28-yard line. Position 3 is where it occurs. It doesn't look like our back judge has a flag. I believe we did get a flag from It's from our deep wing. We don't have deep wings in high school, so that's going to have to be from our headline judge. And this is a tough one because, this is going to be enforced from the spot of that foul. So the end of our run is the 43-yard line, position 1. And our flag, this just shows the block in the back. There's chase mode. He's behind him. One more view. Again, who we all should be looking at. Our line judge, our headline judge, and our umpire. Okay, so you're not going to necessarily get that flag to the right spot if you're throwing it. Hopefully, this is college games, so they're not coming down quite as hard. But hopefully you might be down here at the 50. That's still a long toss. So you're going to have to remember where you saw that block from, and you're going to have to move your flag. Now, the back judge might get to it late. He might be able to help you with where it was because he got to it late. Didn't see that it was in the back necessarily, but after he knows that you got a flag, he might be able to help at that yard line. So, train tape here on penalty enforcement. A couple things. If you're watching this and you feel it was a good training tape and one that would be beneficial for others to watch, if you would hit the like button down there, that would just encourage more people to watch it, which would be great. There will be more training tapes coming out this week as well on offensive holding, defensive holding, DPI, OPI, and blocking the backs. There's one on personal fouls and another one that will be on mechanics. So you can look for all those to be up this week, hopefully tomorrow, hopefully on Monday or Tuesday. But we will talk to you again soon.